On the 25th of August, Uruguay gathers to remember a defining milestone in its long journey toward national sovereignty.
Blue, white, and the sun of May form the visual language through which Uruguay recognizes its national identity. Today, history, culture, public ceremony, and national memory come together in the streets of Montevideo. The sun of May shines from the national flag as an enduring emblem of liberty and independence. Its familiar face has become one of the most recognizable symbols of the Uruguayan Republic. Above the procession, the national sun links the celebration of today with the memory of independence. On August 25, 1825, representatives gathered in Florida and declared the independence of the Oriental Province. The declaration became one of the central landmarks remembered in Uruguay's national story. Nearly 2 centuries later, the date remains at the heart of Uruguay's Independence Day commemorations. Piedra Alta in Florida occupies a special place in the memory of the Declaration of 1825. The site became closely associated with a moment that generations would remember as part of the birth of the nation. The ceremony preserves history by giving old symbols a living place in the public memory of the Republic. José Gervasio Artigas remains the great national hero of Uruguay and a defining figure of the Oriental revolutionary tradition. His leadership became associated with ideas of political liberty, federalism, and the rights of the provinces. His memory continues to occupy a central place in Uruguay's historical imagination and civic ceremonies. Today, the event is remembered through history rather than recreated as conflict, emphasizing its place in the national narrative. Military heritage here serves as a bridge between historical memory and the solemn traditions of national ceremony. The Oriental Exodus of 1811 became a powerful symbol of collective sacrifice and loyalty during the era of Artigas. The memory of ordinary families moving together became inseparable from the story of a people defining their political identity. In this national memory, the history of Uruguay belongs not only to leaders, but also to communities and families.
The political vision associated with Artigas emphasized liberty, republican government, and a meaningful voice for the provinces.
These principles became an enduring part of the way Uruguay remembers its revolutionary era. The story of independence was therefore also a story about political ideas and the meaning of self-government. Between the Uruguay River, the Rio de la Plata, and the Atlantic Ocean, a distinct Oriental identity gradually took shape. Geography shaped the country's economy, settlements, rural traditions, and relationship with the wider region. The land itself became one of the foundations upon which a sovereign national community was built. The path from the Declaration of 1825 to recognize sovereignty unfolded through conflict, negotiation, and diplomacy. The settlement reached in 1828 created the conditions for an independent state to emerge between its powerful neighbors. Diplomacy became an essential chapter in the transformation from revolutionary struggle to sovereign statehood. On July 18, 1830, Uruguay solemnly swore its first constitution. Public institutions became central to the way the country organized political life and civic participation. Ceremonial music accompanies the Republic's celebrations as a tradition of public honor rather than a call to conflict. The Legislative Palace stands among the most recognizable symbols of Uruguay's parliamentary and civic life. Its monumental architecture reflects the importance given to institutions within Uruguay's republican tradition. In the national imagination, the building represents continuity, debate, law, and representative government. Montevideo, facing the Rio de la Plata, stands at the center of Uruguay's political, economic, and cultural life. The capital grew from a fortified settlement into a city whose history reflects the wider evolution of the country. Today,
Its streets provide the stage upon which Uruguay gathers to commemorate its independence.
Ciudad Vieja preserves visible layers of Montevideo's colonial, commercial, and republican history. Its architecture recalls the generations who shaped the city long before the modern skyline emerged. In Montevideo, historical memory and contemporary urban life continue to exist side by side. The port of Montevideo connected Uruguay with the wider Atlantic world and helped shape the growth of the capital.
Trade, migration, and maritime activity made the port an important gateway between Uruguay and distant shores.
Today, naval ceremonial traditions honor the country's enduring relationship with rivers, estuary, coast, and sea. The Rio de la Plata has shaped Uruguay's geography, commerce, urban life, and relationship with the surrounding region.
Its broad waters have long been both a frontier and a connection to neighboring peoples and international trade.
The river remains one of the great geographical features through which Uruguay understands its place in South America.
Beyond the Rio de la Plata, Uruguay opens toward an Atlantic coastline of beaches, dunes, lagoons, and coastal communities.
The coast forms another important dimension of the country's landscape, economy, and everyday life.
From river to ocean, water remains inseparable from the geography and identity of Uruguay. The gaucho holds an enduring place in Uruguay's rural heritage and national imagination. Horsemanship, independence, rural work, and knowledge of the land became closely associated with gaucho culture. Today, traditional riders carry that rural heritage forward as part of national festivals and public memory. Uruguay's rural traditions are preserved not only in history, but also through living festivals, families, crafts, and community gatherings. The countryside remains an important source of symbols through which Uruguay expresses continuity with its past.
Rural identity continues to complement the urban and civic traditions of the modern republic.
Livestock farming has played a major role in Uruguay's economy, rural landscape, and historical development. The open grasslands supported generations of rural workers and helped shape patterns of settlement and production.
The pastoral landscape became one of the most familiar images associated with the country beyond its borders.
Agriculture connects modern Uruguay with a long tradition of work, land management, and rural production.
Different crops and farming activities have contributed to the diversity of the country's productive landscape.
Behind the symbols of national celebration stand generations whose daily labor helped sustain the republic. Mate is one of Uruguay's most familiar daily traditions, shared in homes, workplaces, parks, and public spaces.
More than a drink, mate creates a small ritual of conversation, companionship, and time shared with others.
In its simplicity, the tradition has become one of the everyday expressions of Uruguayan social identity.
The brilliant red flowers of the ceibo belong to the natural imagery of the Rio de la Plata region. Nature contributes its own colors and forms to the visual identity celebrated throughout the national procession. Among flags, monuments, and historical symbols, the landscape itself remains part of Uruguay's sense of place. Uruguay's grasslands, rivers, wetlands, and coast provide the natural setting in which its history and communities developed. From rural interior to river and ocean, the country's varied landscapes are woven into its economy, traditions, and national character. From the struggle for independence to constitutional government, from Montevideo to the countryside,
¡Dale candombe! ¡Que la fiesta siga! Dale, dale, adelante candombe. Que la fiesta siga. Uruguay! ¡Viva la cultura! ¡Que siga el toque! ¡Que siga la fiesta! Con los colores de mi bandera, cantamos fuerte pa' que nos oigan. ¡Vamos arriba la murga! Que siga la fiesta, que suene el tambor. Somos la murga de este año, puro color y esplendor. Dale, dale Uruguay, dale, dale Centenario. Hola a todos.
Disfruten el desfile. ¡Que viva la patria!
La celeste pasión que nos une es el orgullo de nuestra nación.